And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today on this Monday. Welcome back, my people. It is Monday, therefore it is time to get to some super thanks from this previous week. But before we do that, as always, gotta give a shout out to the channel members. Shout out to Gary, aka G the Great One, Dr. Les Barrett, Thanos Snap Feminism, Keith Brazell, Charles Hookah, In the Groove 56, Great Juice, The Real Siberius, The Real Heisenberg, Mary Lewis, Adidas 20, Rike, Wizman Ballin, Vernon Lee Warren, Matt Parker, Papa Yogito, Eric C., and It's Not That Serious. Thank you all so very much for being members of the channel and for your continuous support. I truly cannot thank you enough. And without further ado, let's get into the super thanks, my people. First up, we got At The Real Siberius coming through with the $2 super thanks. This is coming from my ESPN clowns. Say, pay players more money so that they will actually compete in the All-Star game, people. Again, you know, millions of dollars isn't enough. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, please, for the love of God, get rid of the All-Star game and being called an All-Star. Ever since Kobe retired, both of those things have become an embarrassment, not a badge of honor. You cannot incentivize players who do not care into caring, not with money or titles or prizes. You can't buy heart, period. Facts. Like I said, I am totally for doing away with the All-Star game as long as they do away with the title of All-Star as well. It's like I said many times, you don't have to force a competitor to compete. For anyone out there who happens to be fortunate enough to make money doing the thing that you love, I would imagine that you got to that point because you love to do the thing that you do, because you love that thing and you were doing it before you were ever making money for it. You know, you were doing it before you were making a dime for it. Because supposedly, I've been told, I don't know, people, these NBA players, they would make you rethink this. But supposedly, when you love to do something, people don't have to coerce you to do it and have to try to find ways to make you do it. So this is why I've said over and over again, there is nothing and no one who can convince me that these players today are competitors on the same level of previous eras, because they find more reasons not to play than they do to play. As a matter of fact, it seems like every day they're waking up with a new reason or a new complaint. You know, you got the face of the league, the Duck, the Deer, the leader of the 4 and 6 Kingdom, complaining this past preseason about having to fly to Milwaukee and play a preseason game. LeBron James, guess what? It's part of the job. But anyway, shout out to At The Real Siberius. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to at G the Great One, coming through with the $2 super thanks. And this is coming from my LeBron James. Says, only NBA fans care about ring culture. In other words, LeBron James is saying that only NBA fans care about championships, people. no other sport. They don't care about championships in football. They don't care about it in hockey and baseball. Only NBA fans are obsessed with their star players who's supposed to be the leader of the team, who's making more money than everyone else. Only NBA fans are concerned with their star players winning championship to be in the greatest of all time conversation. That's only us, guys. In case you didn't know. But anyway, G the Great One comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, LeClown is the same person who said the 2016 championship made him the GOAT. You can't make this stuff up. Shaking my head. This guy's the most mentally weak superstar of all time. Skip Bayless was right on the money from the beginning. I will give him that. The sole purpose of this podcast is for LeClown to try to rewrite history. If this bozo had 7 championships, he definitely wouldn't be trying to diminish them. The leader of the 3-6-1 kingdom needs to go away, and I didn't see not one lie in that paragraph. Not one. Not one. LeBron James, the person who said that one right there made me the GOAT. LeBron James, the person that if he had 7 championships, we all know there is no way on earth he would be complaining about ring culture, so to speak. But at the end of the day, as if it's possible to lose more respect for this guy. This guy, I will say he's the GOAT at that. He's the GOAT at making people constantly lose more and more respect for him. You would think it would get to a point to where you just like, okay, I know who he is. I don't respect him, and that's that. But it's like every time he opens his mouth, it's like, oh, I thought I couldn't respect this guy any less. But leave it up to LeBron James to find a way to make you do that. And thus, this is why he was verbally assaulted in New York City by a guy telling him that he will never be MJ or Kobe. Anyway, shout out to G the Great One. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Kyrie Patterson 9520, and this is coming from my Tracy McGrady. The non-champion agrees with LeBron James about ring culture. He says, one more thought, Uncommon, not even entertaining Gil's Kobe Pippen talk, straight up laughable. Also, we know LeBron was going to pull something to steal the spotlight after getting bounced. Classic timing. He's definitely somewhere with the evil villain laugh right now. Back then, I used to debate Kobe versus T-Mac too. It was a thing. But once I got serious about the game, it was no contest. T-Mac had the flash to match Kobe, but Kobe had him fully beat in fundamentals. Facts. Kobe's post game, high-low, was worlds better. T-Mac, 0 all defensive selections. Another thing that he has in common with LeBron James, because I would argue that LeBron James has 5 first team, and I would argue that all of those were gifted to him, in my opinion. Again, I said LeBron James has never been a consistently great defender. He has had defensive highlights, but he can't be mentioned in the same sentence with Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or any of the all-time great defenders in the history of the game. LeBron James is not on that level. But he says 0 all defensive selections. Kobe, 12. So a lockdown defender versus an average defender at best. Kobe was more creative on the ground and in the air despite being less athletic. Facts. You could stop T-Mac getting off his last second shot. Kobe was among the few players near impossible to stop from getting off a last second shot. T-Mac plus Shaq might have gotten one. I think we probably all agree with that. I think they might have gotten one. Might have gotten one on talent, but don't see them winning multiple. Shaq needed someone to push him. Also, T-Mac ain't winning with Gasol. That is a fact, in my opinion. There is no way T-Mac gets a championship with Pau Gasol. No way. But yeah, this is all facts. And like I said, to me with these guys, the reason I think they spend so much time trying to tear down the legacy of Kobe Bryant, because to me, Kobe Bryant is a reminder of what they could have been if they had worked hard. Because a lot of these guys had more talent, I believe, than Kobe Bryant. Or more potential than Kobe Bryant. Like you said, T-Mac was more athletic. You know, of someone like a Vince Carter, more athletic. But these guys, they didn't have the mentality. They didn't have the killer will. They didn't have the work ethic to actually maximize who they were, and Kobe did. And this is why I think deep down inside, they know it. Deep down inside, they want to make the excuse of, you mean to tell me if I had played with Shaq, I wasn't going to get a ring? They want that excuse instead of saying, hey, you know what? Had I worked as hard as Kobe, I would be a champion. Case closed. Had I worked as hard as Kobe, had I had the killer mindset of a Kobe Bryant, I would be a champion. This is what they won't say. But shout out to Kerry Patterson 9520. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. Next up, shout out to the Doctor 3196. This is coming from my LeBron James gets booed again, this time in New York. I had to add this time because LeBron James gets booed so often. I mean, to be a superstar, to be someone who is supposedly in the conversation for the greatest of all time, this right here alone proves it. When you are in the conversation for greatest of all time, with that comes respect. If you're in that conversation, you are respected. Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon. If you're in that conversation, that comes with respect, because all of those guys did it by the correct standards. They followed the standards that were set by them, set by previous generations. But LeBron James, again, the fact that he is not respected by so many people, that should tell you something. LeBron James fanboys, that should tell you guys something. But it doesn't. Anyway, shout out at the Doctor 3196. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, I think we need to accept that Kobe is pretty much the second best player, since he's the only one that gets mentioned next to Michael, like in this video. Well, I would say for me, I've definitely have had Kobe Bryant at number 2. And like I said, for me, it's like Michael Jordan number 1. And my 1 through 5, honestly, it could change on any given day, because I feel like I could make a good case for almost anybody being 2 through 5. Which is why at some point, I've been saying this for the longest, but I'll get around to it at some point. At some point, I want to actually sit down and make a criteria that I can use to actually make a definitive 1 through 5 list for myself. But the one thing that is certain that I'm positive of is that LeBron James shouldn't be ranked. He shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence with the greatest of all time. It's just, you know, again, the more he stays in the league, the more he continues to talk. You know, it's nothing respectable about this guy. But anyway, shout out to at the Doctor 3196. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to at Kenshiro Boss. Coming through with the $2 super thanks, and this is coming from last week's what people have to say about the duck. And he simply says T-Mac name should be T-Capping. I can't disagree with that. Yeah. All these people who are in the unclutch camp, the 4 and 6 kingdom, that they all need new nicknames. When people start coming up saying ridiculous stuff and agreeing with LeBron James, especially when you know it's to cover up their own failures, yeah, they need new nicknames. T-Capping, that's a good one to start with. Shout out to Atkins Shiro Boss. Thanks so much for the $2 super thanks. And he comes again with the $5 super thanks from the same video. He says T-Cap claims he should have won the 2003 MVP over Duncan. He told Shaq the Spurs would have made the playoffs without Duncan, but Shaq countered that Duncan elevated Parker and Ginobili. Duncan also secured performances as a role player. Says T-Cap's only notable accomplishment on the court is scoring 13 points in 30 seconds in a regular season game. Tracy folds quicker than a cheap umbrella in a hailstorm during the playoffs. He shouldn't be on any network talking about winning. I can't disagree with this at all. And yeah, and this is a fact. And this is why, we talk about the consistency. Like, to me, what separates one superstar from another is the consistency at which they display greatness. Like, when we talk about Michael Jordan, to me, we're talking about consistency of greatness displayed, or basketball being displayed on a high level at the most consistent clip that we've ever seen. But even for the rest of the greats, it's the same thing. Because to me, there's a lot of talented players in the NBA. There's a lot of players with a lot of potential in the NBA, and there are players like Tracy McGrady who's capable on any given night of having a fantastic game. But how consistently can you do it? And, did McGrady ever make it out the first round of the playoffs? One time? Did he make it out the first round one time? So somebody dropped that in the comments. But yeah, again, and McGrady's played with some great players. It's like, that's like someone, not quite the equivalent, but him saying, oh, if I had Shaq, I could have won the championship. That's like someone saying, oh, if I had Michael Jordan, I couldn't win the championship. Yeah, you can win the championship with Michael Jordan. Of course you can. That's probably a bad comparison, but you get the point. It's like Tracy McGrady. So you're saying you need a player that's greater than you to win. Oh, and speaking of that, I guess why I'm talking about it, I made a mistake on this last video I did about Kobe when I was reading off the stats. I meant to read off the stats from the 3 championship years, but I actually skipped the first year. So instead of reading off 01, 02, and 03, I actually read off 02, 03, and 04 stats. But to me, the point stands the same. And that is, Kobe Bryant was a co-captain. He was a co-pilot with Shaq. He wasn't a sidekick. He wasn't a Scottie Pippen. But anyway, shout out to Atkins Shiro Boss. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to At The Real Siberius. This is coming from the same video of what people have to say about the duck from last week. He says, I've been meaning to make this comment for a while, but shout out to all of your fans on this channel. They are all true students of the game, excluding the fanboys. Their comments, especially the super chats, are always insightful, well articulated, and point out the things to me I was either unaware of or make me reflect on things in a new light. You have created a special community, and that deserves recognition and praise. Yes, I agree. Shout out to all of the viewers that continue to support this channel, because I agree 100%. I may not respond to every comment, but most of the times I read quite a few of the comments, and yeah, everybody has very insightful things to say, and like you said, sometimes it's just either making you look at an argument from a different angle that you hadn't thought about before. But you know, this is what this is about. Like I said, aside from, you know, the main thing is for the younger generation who may come across the channel to point out the things, everything that is wrong with LeBron James and how he conducts himself. You know, his actions. It's not about the name LeBron James. It's every bit about what LeBron James does. And for the younger generation to understand that, hey, if you want, again, I've said this a million times, if you want greatness, don't chase greatness. Simply chase being the best at whatever thing it is that you want to do in life. Just focus on being the best at that, you know. But yeah, shout out to At The Real Siberius. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks, and thank you so very much for that comment. Like I said, I wholeheartedly agree, and obviously yourself is included in that for continuously making insightful comments. I truly cannot thank you all enough. Next up, shout out to In The Groove 56. This is coming from my LeBron James gets booed again. This time in New York. He says, thanks again for exposing this clown chasing ghosts. The closest LeBron will ever get to Jordan is both names have 6 letters. King LeBron represents his 4 and 6 kingdom with his fanboys stuck with 7. Something us MJ fans have never witnessed. MJ is a product of Brooklyn, New York, and well respected. New York was actually helping LeBron, letting him know that their boos weren't fake, but a subtle get out, you haven't earned our respect. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the whole fact that he is so that people have no respect for that guy, to me, that's a reflection on this whole GOAT debate too. Again, when you have truly done something great, people respect it. You know, I don't care where you're from, unless you're a fanboy who likes shortcuts. That's the only exception. But for normal people, normal hardworking people, normal people who like to see people triumph and overcome the odds, for those regular people like us, people respect when they see greatness, because you can't help but respect it. Again, I have to say this over and over again. I did not start off a Kobe fan. I didn't start off a Kobe fan. Like, I didn't like Kobe in the beginning, but Kobe won me over. I probably said this before on the channel too. I didn't start off a MJ fan. I was a Bad Boy Pistons fan. I had the shirts, the hat, everything. The Bad Boy Pistons. I was a hardcore Isaiah Thomas fan. That's why I'm so disappointed by what Isaiah Thomas has turned into. But yeah, it was the same thing with MJ. It's like, once you see a guy breaking his neck on the court to give his all out, you can't help but respect it. And it was the same thing with Kobe Bryant. You know, I did dislike him because I'm like, who is this MJ wannabe coming in here? Who is this kid, you know, trying to walk like MJ, talk like MJ? At one point, he had the bald head like MJ. But over the years, you watch him and you watch the progress and you watch how his demeanor on the court, and you see that, oh, like this guy is made up of the same ingredients as MJ. And you see him go through the losses, especially after, Shaq left and went to Miami. You watch Kobe go through the hard times and you finally see him overcome again. And you can't help but respect it. Because people can't help but respect true greatness. But manufactured greatness, that's when you don't get respected by a lot of people. P. Diddy. A lot of people may have feared P. Diddy because he had power and whatnot. But, to me, people didn't respect Diddy like that. I didn't, especially not as a musician. And LeBron James is the same way. When you have manufactured your greatness, people see through that. People see through that, and they are not going to respect it. And you'll wind up finding yourself in New York trying to walk inside a club and someone telling you that you're not MJ or Kobe and you need to get the F out of here. Shout out to at In the Groove 56. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Antihero 824 coming through with the $10 super thanks. And this is from my LeBron admits to traveling and blowing layups on the Mind Games podcast. If you didn't know, Steve Nash asked LeBron James what was the most egregious travel he ever got away with. He said it was against the Washington Wizards, and they played the clip. It was when he had on the yellow Cleveland uniform, and he did an egregious travel. And what do you know? He also blew the wide open layup at the end. I mean, how how opposite of the GOAT can you get? But anyway, he says, "What's up, bro? I love your channel. I found your channel a little over a year ago and been a consistent watcher. Man Down is my other favorite channel, but the difference is you don't hold back at all. I got to say the funniest video I ever watched is when you said nobody talks about LeBron James like that, as in high regard and respect. Then you said there are no stories of players saying, man, I was talking to AI and I was talking to Magic and this and that. But man, when LeBron walked in the room, he says, man, I was dead because I've been saying this for years. People don't mess with him like that. But I just came to the realization of something when it comes to LeBron. In the 2016 finals after the Cavs won, Kyrie said he called Kobe and said, your advice worked. My question is, why didn't he run over to LeBron and say, hey, bro, your advice worked? Did he not know what to do? My theory is LeBron did what we used to do as kids by telling our cousin to ask our mom to sleep over because if I do, she says no. So LeBron told Kyrie to ask LeBron because if he would have asked him, Kobe would have called him sorry and hung up the phone. By the way, how do you become a member? There isn't a button anywhere on your channel for it. There normally is a button to become a member. It normally says join or something on there, but if it's not there, I couldn't tell you why it's not there, and I don't know any other way that you would be able to do it. But normally when you click on a video, it should come up. But I don't remember what video it was that I said that on. but yeah, I mean, I feel like you can just listen to how people talk about LeBron James. And I'm talking about everybody, whether it's his peers or whoever it is. Like, they don't talk about LeBron James with that kind of amazement that you hear other greats get talked about, especially when you're talking about MJ, Kobe, and Bird, or even Magic, for that, people don't talk about that. Like, talk about LeBron with amazement and with reverence. And whenever they're trying to defend his non-existent GOAT case. That is the funniest part, because whenever you see any of these cappers for LeBron trying to piece together a GOAT case for LeBron James, it sounds like they're trying to explain calculus to you or something. You know, it's like they jumping through so many mental hoops to try to explain why this guy is the GOAT. And like I said, you know, it's just, it's simple. You know, when Michael Jordan showed up at that 75th top 75 ceremony in Cleveland, and all of the players are talking about the same moment, and that moment is when MJ walked in. When MJ walked in. This is what all the players have stories of, and these are players from different generations. Some of them are already retired players. Some of them were current players, like Dame Lillard. But when MJ walked in, matter of fact, I don't think I've seen one story about LeBron James from that top 75. Is there any stories about LeBron James from the top 75? I've heard D Wade talk about being able to see MJ and Magic talking, and, you know, hearing the different players have just talk about the stories of being around the greats. But I don't think I've heard any mention about LeBron James from that night. Not one person was like, oh yeah, man, and LeBron James, he was there, man. It just felt so good to be standing next to someone who has had his career manufactured for him, man. It was just unbelievable feeling, because it made me realize that, hey, you know, if I get in with the right people, maybe they can help manufacture a career for me too. And then the whole Kyrie thing, you know, honestly, for me, and this is my personal opinion, I feel like there's probably some resentment from Kyrie towards LeBron James, just for the simple fact that I feel like LeBron James kind of took the opportunity from Kyrie to be the guy in Cleveland when he decided to come back to Cleveland. And so, I mean, it's, you know, we could talk about this all day, but, you know, in terms of Kyrie going to Kobe for advice over LeBron, I mean, I feel like that's not rocket science. That's not rocket science. Should I go to the guy who couldn't stick it out in Cleveland and went to inform the super team, promised 8 championships? First year he gets there, he suffers maybe the worst loss for any superstar in NBA history, and then he actually after that he only won 2 of the 8 championships he said he was gonna get before running back to Cleveland and stealing my shine, especially, you know, should I go to him for championship advice, or should I go to the 5-time champion who has a 3-peat and a 2-peat, and who the whole league knows was a certified killer on the court, and, you know, who is well respected? Which one should I go to for some championship advice? Hey, fanboys. Which one would you guys go to? Don't answer that question. You just make yourself look stupid. Anyway, shout out to Antihero 824. Thank you so very much for the $10 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. I truly cannot thank you enough. Next up, shout out to @Swan Daily. This is coming from What People Have to Say About LeBron James from last week. He says, what do you think about George Mikan? Is it possible that he's overlooked in the GOAT conversation? I just learned that he's 5-0 in the finals. That's actually something I would have to do some studying to give an answer to that I could feel good about, just because I would say this. My first my first instinct about maybe why he doesn't get mentioned more is just the fact that he played so far back. You know, I'm pretty sure, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he won his championships in like the early 50s. So, you know, he was pretty close to, he was at the very beginning of when they actually created the NBA, because I think the NBA was officially created in 1949, and if I'm not mistaken, George Mikan actually had the very first NBA championship. Now, when I say created, I mean this is when they changed from the Basketball Association of America. And so I believe George Mikan was the very first champion of the NBA. And he won a few champions, like I said, right in the early 50s. So I would imagine that he doesn't get bought up a lot just because, like I said, he was kind of right at the very beginning of the NBA when the game as we know it, or I should say when the game hadn't evolved to the game as we know it. So I would imagine maybe that's the reason why he doesn't get bought up in those kind of conversations. But yeah, like I said, to give a fair answer, I feel like that would be something I have to really kind of go back and research and study. But shout out to Swan Daily. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. And next up, shout out to @Swan Daily again. This is coming from my when LeBron finally retires. People, and when I say people, I mean LeBron James fanboys, will realize they have been scammed. Maybe. Nah, probably not. You guys, you guys are going down with the ship. But he comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, LeBron James isn't a lab experiment. He's AI, artificial idiocy. Now, I'm going to have to disagree with that. Well, it depends on what you mean by that. If you're talking about LeBron James himself, his idiocy is 100% genuine, I believe. I believe LeBron James' level of idiocy is 100% natural, 100% real, no artificial feelings or flavor. It is... But if you're talking about the LeBron, how the manufactured GOAT's legacy has infected humanity or NBA fans, yeah, I probably could agree with that. But anyway, shout out to @Swan Daily. Thanks so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to the Doctor 3196. This is coming from the same video. Fanboys, when your king retires and more things come out, will you guys ever come into reality, or will you be forever trapped in your delusion? We would all like to know. He comes through with the $5 super thanks. He says, there are lots of reaction videos to 93 Zay, Scap Attack, Uncut Hoops going around. That video that lays out the stats between Michael and LeBron that got 5 million views and counting up is a legend now. A lot of these videos are starting to pick up steam as the Gen Z kids are getting older. Fanboys, the internet is undefeated. We have thousands of hours of LeBron flopping. traveling on the court. We have all these weird podcasts he voluntarily does off the court. You keep saying we got nothing to talk about after he retires. Your own kind. You fanboys are starting to turn on your own. Stop worrying about us. Our goats are doing fine. Your duck is literally going insane. Shout out to at the Doctor 3196. You know, this is something I've kind of been saying since the beginning of this channel. Now, I've been saying it in reference to when people say, or at least at one time they were saying this, they were saying, oh, well, you know, once the Michael Jordan fans, once they get old and they don't control the narrative, LeBron James will ultimately be the GOAT. And I have always said this is not going to be the case. I said this may have been the case if the internet didn't exist. But since the internet exists and you have all these young kids doing reactions to the historic Bulls mixtape and Voyager and the best GOAT comparison video and all these different videos that completely destroy. I mean, I was just watching a reaction video of some young kid today, and this guy, he admitted to being a LeBron fan, but he was watching it and it was just like a instant 180. It was an instant about face from LeBron James, because he was like, LeBron James could never do this. LeBron James could never do this. Like this kid, he hadn't, you know, it's like watching some of these kids, some of them, it takes them several videos. It takes them several videos to come to the realization, like they watch it and you can tell like they were amazed by Jordan, but they're still holding on for dear life for their GOAT. And then, you know, 2 weeks goes by with some more reactions, a couple of months goes by, and before you know it, you see a video saying, I have to admit, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. So some of their journey goes like this. But this kid, this was like his second video. And I'm pretty sure on the first video, he admitted it on the first video. By the second video, he was watching a historic Bulls mixtape. And he was just like, LeBron could never. As a matter of fact, he said, you know what? I said, on the last video, I said, I think LeBron James is the best all-around player. He said, I think I have to take that back. So yeah, with the internet is undefeated. LeBron James fanboys, this is the internet is the worst thing that could have ever happened to you guys. Because not only is there evidence about Michael Jordan's greatness out there, but like at the Dr. 3196 was saying, is that those flopping and traveling compilations, they are forever out there. For someone who's supposedly in the GOAT conversation, no other GOAT, no other person mentioned in the GOAT conversation has those kind of videos. And then you got to get to the lying compilations. Like just lying for what? Yeah, you fanboys, if I haven't told you lately, please know from the bottom of my heart that I truly, truly think you are pathetic. And even though I'm calling you pathetic, you know, the day that you abandon your delusion, we will all embrace you with open arms over here, and we will be glad that you left the delusion behind. But as long as you are swimming in the delusion and you have no interest in trying to see the truth about your king, just know that I think you are truly pathetic. You are ridiculous, and so is your king. Like I you know, it's funny, but it's not. Shout out to at the Dr. 3196. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. Thank you so very, very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to at Swan Daily again. This is coming from my why losers hate Kobe Bryant and try to downplay his greatness. Losers like Tracy McGrady and Gilbert Arenas. And that was the video I think I mentioned that already, but that was the video I was talking about. I was reading off some stats, and I meant to read off 2001, 2002, and 2003, but I actually ended up reading off 2002, 2003, and 2004. But again, I think the point still stands is Kobe was not a sidekick. Period. But anyway, he comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, since these fanboys want to talk about longevity, I would argue that Kobe's longevity is much more meaningful than LeBron's. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Kobe was still a relevant player in the late 2000s, early 2010s, where most of his contemporaries, AIT, Mac, Vince Carter, were all past their primes. He also won championships around that time. To be honest, Kobe was one of the few players from the mid to late 90s draft class who was still killing it. Him, Dirk, and Duncan. Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with that. Again, look, the more we talk about this LeBron James, it's hard to give him credit for anything. And this is the danger of not being true to the game. This is the danger of trying to. This is the danger of not sticking to the standards. Is that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you leave a lot of holes for people to go back and say, you know what? I think your whole career was trash. You know what? I think your whole career doesn't even count because you just cheated your whole career. And guess what's part of that? The longevity. When you talk about someone like Kobe Bryant, who won his last championship in 2010, and I know he started having the injuries and stuff, but even within that, like, to me, again, the thing that was impressive about Kobe is even through the severe injuries. Like I said, I just did a story a few months ago about it was James Worthy talking about how Kobe Bryant, and this might have been in Kobe's last couple of years in the NBA, and said Kobe Bryant, called him and was like, meet me in the gym 9 a.m. the next day or something like that. And James Worthy was like, when he got there, Kobe was asking him about some move that he saw James Worthy do on a VHS tape. And he wanted to know the move because he understood he was getting injured and he was looking for more efficient ways to score. And Kobe Bryant, understanding that the only way through greatness is to build upon the things that players from the past is to build on the building blocks that players on the past set, and understanding that the fundamentals is where it's at. He goes to James Worthy, and again, to me, this is like when the LeBron James era that constantly tries to trash past eras. When you have the greatest player of the LeBron James era, Kobe Bryant, who he was constantly going back to players from the past era. This is where he was constantly learning from. He was going back to the players from the past eras. He was going to your Gary Paytons and Scottie Pippens and MJs and James Worthys, and the list of players goes on because Kobe Bryant understood Kobe Bryant understood where the real greatness came from. And that's from the fundamentals. So the fact that even in Kobe's last few years, he was when injuries had pretty much, taken over, he was still trying to learn new things to make the game easier, to make himself more efficient. And just that alone, just that fact alone makes Kobe Bryant so much more of a greater player than LeBron James could ever be. But yeah, I completely agree. To me, Kobe's longevity, or anybody's longevity for that matter, is greater than LeBron James, whether it's Tim Duncan or anybody else you want to name, Kareem, anybody else you want to name, because they didn't cheat the game. LeBron James has cheated the game. Case closed. Disqualified. Like, I don't want to hear about any LeBron James fanboys. Anything that you think that guy has done good, I don't want to hear it. because it's come as a result of him cheating the game, period. You know, the thing that he, on the ESPYs, he said that he's never done. I never cheated the game, and, my sons never cheated the game, and, lucky for you guys, I'm not going to retire today. Lucky for you guys, I'm going to keep sitting in the NBA, taking this paycheck for not playing defense. Lucky for you guys, I'm going to sit on the NBA and keep taking this paycheck while I keep blaming other people. And lucky for you guys, I'm going to keep getting on my podcast, Mind the Game, so that I can directly address all the narratives that people say about me. And, and I can find a different way to spin it for my fan base who would believe anything that I say. Lucky for you guys, I'm here to stick around until I don't know. But anyway, shout out to Swan Daily. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Keith Brazell 6909. This is coming from my Why Losers Hate Kobe Bryant and Try to Downplay His Greatness. I got a question for Tracy McGrady. Were you actually really friends with Kobe Bryant? Because that really rubbed me the wrong way. You trying to, you mean to tell me I couldn't win if I was? You're not on Kobe's level, Tracy McGrady. Let's be real. Anyway, he comes through with the $20 super thanks, and he simply says thanks. Thank you so very much for the $20 super thanks, and thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, we got Keith Brazell again. This is coming from the same video. He comes through with the $5 super thanks. He says, this is in reference to LeBron's comments about rings. I've been watching basketball since around 78 or 79. I've always and still am a big NCAA basketball fan, and since I'm from North Carolina, which is my favorite college, naturally I'm a Jordan fan since he was in high school. I was actually hearing about him in high school. This is before the internet, obviously. The one thing I liked about basketball in the 80s and 90s is the emphasize on going to college. Only a few outliers didn't go, like Moses Malone or Daryl Dawkins, and that was because back then you had to at least be able to pass a SAT. Only outlier was Kobe Bryant, who we all know could have went to any college he chose. He had Ivy League teams trying to recruit him. I like that the NBA went to a one-year minimum college or go overseas first before you can play. I noticed that they started that after LeBron got in. I'm speculating if he had to go to college, he would have chose overseas. He would say because of the money, but we know he wouldn't be able to qualify with his academics, especially after this idiot said on his podcast that having rings is not the A-all, B-all. What the F does that even mean? I've heard of the end-all, be-all. I asked Google. Okay, I'm sorry, people. Said I asked Google, tried Gemini AI. Hell, I tried asking Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he blocked me. I was told some time ago when you have to try to sound intelligent, it's a good indication you are not. So just be yourself. What's sad is I know Steve Nash heard it, but is so busy glazing he didn't care. I only know this because AOH pointed it out, and I don't actually watch the show. Listening to LeBron talk for more than 30 seconds is like being forced to listen to the Brown Note for an hour. If you look it up on Google to tell you what... Oh, if you need to look it up on Google to tell you what I'm talking about. Anyways, what are your thoughts on LeBron's supposed high basketball IQ? Here's my thoughts on LeBron James' high basketball IQ. Did everybody get that? I think nothing of it. I don't think LeBron James has high basketball IQ at all. I think LeBron James is the definition of somebody who had some athleticism and some natural talent for the game. And his natural talent was able to take him as far as we've seen him get with the help of Adam Silver and with the help of the NBA. But I mean, yeah, it's like the more you evaluate his game on the court even, I mean, the turnovers that this guy makes in critical situations, the decisions he makes, I mean, there is no way he can have this high basketball IQ. I'm sorry. And I think I've said this on another video. I think LeBron James probably has a good memory. Like, he probably can memorize a bunch of plays and whatnot. But again, I've said, like, that doesn't mean anything. To me, what makes high IQ is good instincts for the game. Like, and that is an in-game split decision moment based off of a wealth of knowledge that you've accumulated over the years. That way it's like, okay, yeah, you may know the plays, but you know, it's a whole different thing when you're in the game and have to make a call right there on the fly, or you know the play. LeBron James strikes me as somebody like, he knows the play, but if you deviate at all from the play, he wouldn't know what to do. This is just my opinion, fanboys. But he strikes me as someone who, like I said, he'll know the play, but if any deviation happens, he doesn't know how to respond. Because, I mean, obviously just listening to the guy talk, he's not that smart. I mean, let's just be real. Just listening to the guy talk, he's not that smart. And I mean, just like you said here, you know, when you have to go out of your way to try to sound intelligent, that's normally a sign that you're not. Just like if you have to go out of your way to tell people that you're not cheating the game, I think that's self-explanatory, LeBron James. You just told us, which we already know, but what you just let us know is that we know that you cheat the game, which is why you're trying to plead your case and brainwash everybody. I never cheated the game, and blah, 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 blah. I never cheated the game, and I don't know what flopping is. I never had a super team. I never had a big three. As a matter of fact, Boston had a big four. They're the one with the super team. Don't try to blame me for super teams. But Boston had a big four because Rajon Rondo was every bit as much a star as Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What else is there to say? Shout out to Keith Brazell. Thank you so very much for the $5 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Man of Understanding 3102. This is coming from the same Kobe video. He says, Kobe legacy aged like fine wine, and his haters are aging like bread. Yeah, I mean, I think that's enough said. I feel like any great, that's how their legacy will end. But we are actually watching LeBron James' legacy crumble before he even exits the NBA. Before he even gets out of the NBA, this guy's already ruining his legacy. That's amazing. LeBron James is the GOAT of a lot of things. Playing basketball is not one of them, but the GOAT of getting disrespected, the GOAT of not earning respect, the GOAT of ruining your legacy before you actually retire. Yeah. Shout out to Man of Understanding 3102. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. And next up, shout out to @TrueBeliever616. It's coming from the same video. He says, Thanks, my brother, for this video and standing on the truth about Kobe's legacy. As a lifelong Lakers fan and true fan of Kobe, I really appreciate it. We don't have people that were close to Kobe in life like Magic, Phil, Gasol, Fisher, MJ, Kyrie, or Tatum defending him. But we got traitors like Wade and T-Mac dangling on the clutch puppet strings. So it is nice to have channels like yours speak up on Kobe's behalf, as he is no longer here to do it for himself. Much respect, peace, and thanks again. Shout out to @TrueBeliever616. Yeah, like my thing is this. I just respect people who go about things, go about their path with integrity. And, you know, I mean, like you were saying, Kobe's not here to speak up for himself. And that's really what makes this all the more despicable, to be honest. Like I said, especially for Tracy McGrady. I'm like you acted like you were this guy's friend. Again, I talked about this the other day on a video. It's like at one point, Tracy McGrady was like, die hard. MJ's the GOAT. I don't want to hear anything else. When Kobe passed, Tracy McGrady started getting on this Kobe kick, and, you know, I can't remember if he said Kobe was the GOAT, but he definitely started praising Kobe a whole lot more, you know, and whatnot. And now that Kobe's been gone for quite some time, now he goes to saying stuff like, oh, you don't think I could have won with Shaq? Man, cut it out. Like, were you Kobe's friend? Because to me, if you were Kobe's friend, you wouldn't even say that just based off of friendship. Like, if I was in the NBA and a friend of mine who was great had passed away and this argument came up, like, I wouldn't even speak on it. I probably wouldn't even let other people speak on it in my presence, you know, to start saying stuff like, oh, well, you don't think you don't think Gilbert Arenas could have played with Shaq and got a championship? I'm like, man, shut up. Kobe's here. Kobe's not here. He did what he did. He got 5 championships. He got a 3-peat and a 2-peat, and none of you losers got 1. Matter of fact, let's take the 3-peat out of it. Let's take, if you want to try to diminish Kobe by saying, oh, it was Shaq's team, which is not true, again, but if you want to say that, let's take the 3-peat out of it. Even without that, Kobe got a 2-peat. Kobe won back-to-back with him and Pau Gasol. What have you guys done? Tracy McGrady, Gilbert Arenas? You don't have 1. What are you talking about? What are we talking about here? And Tracy McGrady is supposed to be friends with the guys. Yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way. But anyway, shout out to @TrueBeliever616. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. Next up, shout out to 2180. This is coming from my when LeBron James retires. People will realize, some people will realize that they have been scammed. He says, great video, my dude. The only thing I want to add to it is 2 glaring facts that never get stated that literally shut down any conversation about MJ, Bron, or Kobe, and Bron or anything in that vein. First off, do y'all understand that the whole super team era as we know it, as far as LeBron is concerned, it literally was started because of Kobe Bryant. Don't take my words for it. Take Dwayne Wade's. He's the one that openly admitted in a podcast interview. I can go pull it up. I've seen it just like the rest of us. He's the one that literally got on the podcast and said after watching Kobe win his 5th chip, him and Bitch Boy were on the phone basically saying, yo, how we gonna beat this dude? He now has 5. I only have 1. Bron didn't have any at that point. What did says, how are we going to beat this? Oh, my fan. What did he say? Kobe can't keep winning chips. We got to stop him from winning more chips. So what did they do? They conspired to tilt the advantage in their favor and try to form Megatron to defeat this dude. There's no arguing that those are his words, not mine. Next point, when it comes to Bron versus Mike, this has been a moot point. Their careers somewhat mirrored each other, and their first couple of years, but the exception that Mike made the playoffs every year. Bron missed the playoffs his first 2 years in Cleveland, but made it to the finals before Mike did. But when we get to that, this is where the division comes. I could bring up the fact that, you know, when things got tough, Bron ran, but that's not the point I'm trying to make about this. The point is the first time this brother, meaning Michael Jordan, got to the mountaintop, he won. From that point forward, every season that he put on the Bulls uniform for a full season, he was coming home with at least 2 trophies, the Larry O'Brien and the Finals MVP, while accumulating a bunch of other accolades, stats, and awards on his way to getting to the finals. B.J. Armstrong said it perfectly in The Last Dance. The man said, and I quote, "After we won the first championship, it was over for everybody because we came back in like everybody else in the league. We came back playing basketball the next season while Mike was playing to win. He figured out how to win, and that's all it was about after that." And his career speaks to that because, like I said, after he got to the mountaintop for the first time, everything after that was championship. Once he figured it out, it was over. That is the definition of domination. LeBron has nothing in his career to speak to anything like that. Because if you want to tell me how many trips he's had to the finals, you can't do that and omit how many empty trips it produces. Facts. I'm pretty sure I did a video on the whole D-Wade thing when that interview first came out. And I feel like that's just another thing to add to it, is the fact that they formed this team because of Kobe Bryant. When you LeBron James fanboys want to argue about that, I suggest you guys go watch D-Wade. Go watch D-Wade spill the beans about them forming this super team because Kobe Bryant had just won again. And and the whole thing about LeBron James and MJ's career having parallels. Like I said, LeBron James had the opportunity to do the same thing that Michael Jordan did. He came into a losing franchise. He had an opportunity to try to make it a dynasty right there. But at the end of the day, like I said before, LeBron James, it just was never in him to do that. He's not that guy. It was never in him. Like, it is not in his DNA to be that. It is not in his upbringing to be that. LeBron James doesn't have the heart. LeBron James doesn't have the skill, will, or leadership to have ever been the GOAT. It's just not in him. And I will say the NBA did their best to try to make it so, but now all the work that they have been putting in for the last 20-something years is coming to a head, and the kingdom is starting to crumble. It's all unraveling. But shout out to @Osh2180. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Rike, coming through with the $10 super thanks, and this is from the same video. And as always, he simply says thanks, and thank you. I truly cannot thank you enough for continuing to support the channel. And next up, shout out to @Trey04Will. This is coming from my "Why Losers Hate Kobe Bryant and Try to Downplay His Greatness." He says, "Thanks. The bronze medal king is out here gaslighting because the GOAT debate. started by his stooges in the media and egged on by LeBron James, has gone from MJ to Kobe. The debate is now whether LeBron is even top 5. The more he talks out of both sides of his mouth, the further he falls. And he will continue to fall because he will continue to talk, because LeBron James doesn't have any real friends who would tell him to shut the up. LeBron James doesn't have any real friends who will snatch the mic from this guy and say, hey, LeBron, man, people are already talking about you not top 5. Hey, LeBron, man. Hey, people talking about you not top 10 now. Hey, LeBron, man. Hey, it's people out there saying you shouldn't even be ranked. Please stop talking. Please get off the microphone. Well, you know, I don't know. You even want to know where this ring culture came from. It's weird to me. Shout out to @Trey04Will. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to @StoryGames8520. This is coming from my What People Have to Say about LeBron James last week. He says, hey, Uncommon, I was wondering if you could rank the following championships based on their level of importance and respect level to you. Let's see. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna do this, but I think when I read these championships off, I think everybody knows what these rankings are gonna be. So he has the 1999 Spurs. He has the 2012 Heat. He has the 2020 Lakers. And he has the 2024 Celtics. Anybody want to guess where I'm going to rank these? So at number 1, I'm going to keep the Spurs where they are. As far as respect level, I'm keeping the 1999 Spurs where they are. Now, you know, I think there was a shortened season, so you know, if anybody got a different opinion on that, I could kind of understand. Next up, I'm gonna go with the 2024 Celtics, and after that, I'm gonna go with the 2012 Heat, and last but not least is the Bubble Championship. You know, in some ways, you could put 2012 and 2020 in the same category, and that is disqualification from the duck for taking shortcuts. But yeah, if I had to rank them, 1999 Spurs, 2024 Celtics, 2012 Heat, 2020 Lakers. And you know, as far as he says, importance and respect level to me, I don't respect any of LeBron James championships at this point. Like I said, I'm gonna do a video on that 2012 championship against Oklahoma because that was suspect. I'm starting to feel like that was part of the manufactured job that they did for the Duck to help him so he wouldn't have just lost 3 championships in a row. Or not in a row, but, well, yeah, in a row for him. He would have lost 2007, 2011, and if they didn't beat OKC in 2012, that would have been 3 in a row and 2 on a super team. So, anyway, I could go on and on about that, but shout out to @StoryGames8520. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. And last but not least, shout out to @G the Great One coming through with the $2 super thanks. And this is coming from my LeBron James. When he finally retires, some people will realize that the NBA pulled a scam on them by making them think that LeBron James was much greater than he actually is. He says LeBron gets to live a lie because the media protects him. If his flaws were constantly highlighted, he would not be viewed as a top 10 player, let alone the GOAT. LeBron is literally the biggest failure of all time. He lost 5 playoff series that he was favored to win. He has missed countless clutch shots in the regular season and playoffs. We have watched him straight up quit during games on national TV. With all of the help that he has had and the way he has went about attaining that help, he should have a minimum of 8 championships by now. It is inexcusable how many times he has lost with super teams. This guy also lost twice in the Olympics. That alone is inexcusable when you look at the reputation that the U.S. has before LeBron ruined that win streak. He should have gotten booed in every stadium based off that alone. Keep the content coming. He hears what you are saying. Everything except the juice allegations. Shout out to @G the Great One. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, what more can we say about this guy at this point in time? Like I said, when you start digging into LeBron James' career, it's just, what can you say? What can we even say about this? It's like, yeah, it's like for people who want to say, oh, well, Jordan was favored. And funny thing, so I actually looked up when Jordan won the 1991 championship. I've been on record as saying he wasn't favored in that series. Now, if you look at the odds in Vegas, the Bulls were favored. But if you listen to what the media was saying, they were saying that the Lakers had too much experience for the Bulls to overcome. And especially after they lost that first game. You know, but the media was saying that Magic and the Lakers had too much experience for the Bulls to overcome. So yeah, while people may be talking about the Vegas odds, which I've never been into sports betting ever anyway, but people were talking about that. But I'm talking about what people were saying. I'm talking about what the media was saying. And the media was saying that, you know, like I said, that Magic Johnson and the Lakers had too much championship experience for the Bulls. And then when they lost that first game, when the Bulls lost that first game, that talk increased exponentially. So yeah, you know, but my point is people didn't always think Michael Jordan was going to win. You know, especially in those first years. But Michael Jordan, by the time Michael Jordan won his 4th championship, I think he had the invincible aura. Because he had the three-peat, and then he came back in his first full season back, he won a championship. That's when I think he had the invincible aura. Like, this guy just can't be beat. But even if you want to say Michael Jordan was favored to win, here's the thing is he did win. That is also a measure of your greatness. Do you win when you are supposed to win? And LeBron James has it several times, at least 5 times. I think it was like probably 6 or 7, to be honest, that LeBron James was favored and didn't win. But anyway, we are going to hold up here. Shout out to @G the Great One. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Thank each and every last one of you who continue to support the channel, who continue to like the videos and comment and leave your insights and opinions on the videos. I truly cannot thank you all enough. Like somebody left a comment earlier in this video talking about the community here and the insights that people leave. And yes, you know, like I said, whether it's just getting the look at something from a different angle or learning something that you didn't even know before, like this makes doing this over and over again worth it. And like I always say at the end of these videos, please continue to support all of the content creators who bring you the real, who are not getting paid to prop up the duck, who's going to tell you their honest opinions based on the history of the game and where it is now. So continue to support Angry Old Hoops, Sports and Fitness Rants. Michael Jordan fans are the best. Phenomenal Fitness, Uncut Hoops, Man Down Sports, Sports Team, Format Podcast, Brandon Love Sports, Ticket TV, Too Raw for Sports, Dreamers Pro, Scap Attack. And anybody who I left off, please drop them in the comments so that people can go check them out. Let me know what you guys think about any of the comments that were left here today. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.